and or our spiritual guides trying to tell us that maybe that's not the right path for us, that maybe there is something else waiting for us, or we still need to work on something, like a pain, fear, anger, some sort of energy that is still inside of us that, is blocking the manifestation of something, right? Because it wants to share, it wants to show us something. And I think that's the important part for us, neurospicy people especially, to be able to acknowledge that information, to have that as our spiritual guidance on one hand, connection to our intuition on the other hand, but also understand that that can actually help us regulate ourselves, regulate our whole energy system, whether we're talking about emotions or physical overwhelm. The more we ask our spirit guides to support us, the easier it gets for us, the more lightness it creates. And for those of you who are like, May, but what about, spirit guides? I don't know. I have to tell you that on my personal journey, one of my favorite Hawaiian books, I remember the author writing about, I'm not going to say who it was, but that author was saying that, well, I might say I think it was Serge Kahili King, who said, spirits only exist because we give them, the existence as humans. And that brought me, me being someone that worked with a lot of spirits before that, because that was after my shamanic journey, and understanding of, okay, so spirits are only there because we make them be there. Well, of course, the world is what you think, right? If you think of spirit guides as entities that support us. And I went into a spiral of, not knowing how I wanted to deal with it this way. So I don't want to say that I put my spirit guides aside, but I put a little distance between us, to put it that way. I didn't dismiss them completely, but I felt like I really need to rethink this and feel this through. And I got to a point where I realized for myself that life is nicer with them. Life is nicer having them, knowing that they are there. And this is the part where I'm saying that's why we can use them and help, and they're willing to help. They're waiting for us to receive that, to help us co-regulate with whatever's happening, with whatever's going on in our lives, allowing that guidance to happen, to tell us like, hey, what's happening? What is my, I have this challenge right now and I want to manifest it to have this and that outcome. You could do it by yourself, and just say, okay, I'm going to keep on manifesting. But no, sorry, no, but. And if you ask your spirit guides for help, for support with that matter, for it to be resolved, man, I can tell you there's so much magic in that. And ever since I reconsidered, having spiritual guidance from my spirit guides, from the universe, from my ancestors, from, my dragons, it's been such a magical journey. And that's why I want to share this with you and hope that you open yourself up to the possibility that they are there to support us, to help us, and that they can actually help us in dysregulation. One thing could be to ask them to remind you of certain things, like how to regulate yourself when certain things are happening, and ask them to do that for you. And that's actually one of the reasons why I started with my weekly Meet Your Spirit Guides journeys every Sunday on YouTube, because I wanted to support all of you to reconnect with your spirit guides, whether you have been connected to them before or if it's your first time. Those are, beginner friendly. Anybody can come and just, be in the energy of the circle, of everybody who participates in those circles, so that you can have